everyone. My name is Danica Favorite, and I'm with PublishDrive. Today, we're going to be talking about publishing for profit, going wide versus exclusive. I'm the community manager at PublishDrive. My publishing experience is that I am a multi-published author of over 27 romance novels. I'm a hybrid author with books both traditionally and independently published. I'm an author coach who's worked with multiple authors on their publishing journey, and I'm the former community manager at Harlequin, where I helped aspiring authors get published. PublishDrive is an all-in-one global self-publishing platform that saves time and expand reach for authors and publishers. So why wide publishing? Why is wide publishing the way for profitability in the publishing economy? Let's talk a little bit about that. So why publish wide? While Amazon dominates in the United States, it doesn't hold the same strength in international markets. International markets are experiencing the fastest growth of all markets. Publishing wide gives you the ability to sell your books through multiple stores in multiple markets. Our sales data shows that 60% of sales come from Amazon and 40% comes from the rest of the stores. So that's actually a significant difference in the number of books and where they're being sold. Do you want the whole pie or just part of it? So let's talk about where PublishDrive customers are selling books. They're actually selling books in 216 countries. This is just a small smattering of the different places where PublishDrive customers sell their books. And if Amazon doesn't reach all those countries, how do you get your books there? That's why selling wide is a great idea. Here's just a snapshot of some of the stores that we're in. Amazon is only one of them. So when you're exclusive with Amazon, you don't have access to all of these different stores. And that's where selling wide is really a great opportunity to get your books in the hands of more readers. But let's talk about Amazon, because for some people, Amazon exclusivity is a really good idea. What are some of the pros of being exclusive with Amazon? First of all, you have access to Kindle Unlimited. Books enrolled in KDP Select are included in Kindle Unlimited, which can lead to more readers finding your book and result in a steady income from page reads. So even if someone just picks up your book, glances through a few pages, decides it's not for them, you're still getting paid on those page reads. When you're exclusive with Amazon, you also get some promotional tools only available to you. Amazon provides exclusive promotional options and free book promotions, which helps authors boost visibility and drive sales. In some regions, people who are enrolled in Kindle Unlimited and KDP Select get higher royalties. Also, books enrolled in KDP Select have a better boost with the algorithm. They may get more exposure in Amazon's search algorithms and recommendations, potentially leading to increased sales, which makes sense for Amazon because it's their product. They want their product to get the boost, not everybody else's product. And finally, another pro is the ease of management. By focusing solely on Amazon, you're simplifying your publishing process. Tracking and sales analytics, everything is all in one dashboard. So when you log into that KDP dashboard, your entire publishing business is right there because you don't have it anyplace else. So that is a pro. If you're someone who doesn't like to do a lot of admin work, you don't want to have multiple dashboards, multiple logins, this is the quick and easy way to get your book in the hands of readers. However, there are some cons. So one of the biggest cons is there's only one stream of income, Amazon. Out of all those stores that I showed you, you only get one. Another downside to publishing with Amazon is that your Amazon KDP account can be terminated at any time for any reason with no recourse. How many of you have read in or seen in an author group where people are talking about, oh no, my Amazon account was canceled and I don't know why, I don't know what to do, help me. One of the good things I will tell you, since we are here as guests of Ally is really great at helping authors get those accounts back. They've done some really amazing work to be able to help authors. So if you are in that situation, reach out to Ally. And I would say if you're not a member yet, make sure you sign up. Because here's the other problem with being exclusive to Amazon. It's really difficult to get support. You know, as an Amazon author, you're one of thousands. And so they don't have the time or the manpower to be able to sit down with you and say, here, let's help with your problem. They can't. So you've got organizations with Ally who can sometimes help, but otherwise you're kind of on your own. Also, as I mentioned, Amazon is only available in a few countries. Again, remember back to that slide where I showed you all the countries where PublishDrive is selling books? Amazon isn't in all of those countries. So if you want to sell to even more countries, being exclusive with Amazon prevents you from doing that. Another problem with being exclusive to Amazon is it's a 90-day exclusivity period. During those 90 days, you can't sell your digital book on any other platform, including your own website. Now, there are ways around it. You can email that non-responsive customer service and see if they can help you get out of it prior to that 90 days ending. But otherwise, if you're caught selling your book somewhere else during those 90 days, Amazon gets pretty cranky with you about that. Finally, there's income variability. So earnings from Kindle Unlimited is based on the number of pages read, which I mentioned before on the pros, because someone reads a couple pages, hey, you get a little bit of money. But that's also a con because it can be inconsistent. The earnings based on page read is dependent on the size of the monthly KDP Select Global Fund and the overall number of pages read. You'll see in various groups floating around what that number is, and it fluctuates greatly from month to month, year to year. And as we have seen, those numbers are actually trending downward. So you're getting paid less and less. For an author who is working their tail off to promote their book, get word out about their book, maybe you've had some of the best numbers of your career. If the Amazon Global Fund is low, despite having the best numbers of your career, your income is going to take a hit. So all of that hard work hasn't paid off. So publishing wide. Let's talk about the pros. First of all, by publishing wide, you have access to a broader audience. By publishing across various platforms, you can reach a more diverse and international audience. Another pro is the income diversification. Going wide allows you to earn revenue from multiple sources, reducing reliance on one platform and potentially providing more financial stability. Again, if that Amazon account gets canceled on you, you're not sitting there with zero way to make money. You have other revenue streams. Another pro is greater control. Without the exclusivity clause, you can freely price your book and participate in promotions on other platforms, including offering your book for free or at a discount, depending on what kind of promotion you want to sign up for. Another pro is library distribution. Publishing wide enables you to distribute your books to libraries, tapping into a different segment of the reading market. You have a greater variety of promotional opportunities. There are a lot of promotional opportunities for books that are wide. There are a few for books in KU, but not as many. And finally, another pro of publishing wide, it allows greater opportunities for your IP, such as selling direct, Kickstarter, and more. You are unlimited in what you can do and what you want to do with your books. Now, here are some of the cons of being wide. Number one, it's going to be more complex management. Publishing on multiple platforms requires more effort to manage different accounts, formats, promotion strategies, and royalty tracking. I don't know about you, but I got into the writing business because I like to write books. I do not like admin work. I do not like doing a bunch of different reports and this website and that website. Like that is just, I hate it. But if you publish wide, you have to do that. Another con, you have lower visibility on Amazon. If you're not enrolled in KDP Select, you might get a little less visibility in Amazon's algorithms, which might result in lower sales. Another disadvantage to going wide is slower sales growth. A lot of authors have reported that going from KDP over to wide, your sales growth ends up being a little bit slower because you're not getting that immediate boost in visibility provided by KU, the KDP Select promotions. Your sales might not grow as quickly. And lack of access to KU. Not being in KDP Select means that you're missing out on this large Kindle Unlimited reader base. Finally, there's some platform-specific learning curves. Each platform has its own formatting, promotional tools, and guidelines, which requires time and effort to learn and optimize for each. So there are your pros and cons to publishing wide. But here are some more opportunities for wide sales. You've got diversification of stores according to business models, formats, and geographical location. One of the opportunities you have when you are wide is being able to have your books available in retail stores. If you're in KU, unfortunately, getting your books into a retail store is a lot more difficult. If you're wide, a lot of the different wide distribution partners have the ability to get your books more easily into a retail store. You're not just going to walk into your local Barnes and Noble and automatically see your book in there, but when you're wide, you have more opportunities to have that happen. You can also put your book in subscription services, libraries. As I mentioned, libraries are a big thing for getting your books out there. You can do direct sales. You can put your books in episodic models. Kindle has its own Kindle Vella, which is great and has its own rules if you're in KU, all the different things. But when you're wide, you can be in a lot of other episodic models that for some genres of writers, this is actually a great money-making thing. The different local regional stores, as I mentioned, all the places where Amazon doesn't sell books, there are a lot of really great local regional stores where you can get your books in. And then, of course, there's Kickstarter and other ideas even beyond that, such as Patreon. When you're wide, you can have your books in all of these different outlets that the exclusivity clause in KU doesn't allow you to do. So, what are the challenges in wide publishing success? What are some of the things that you have to watch out for and that you really need to take a look at making sure you have covered so that you can be successful? So, the first one is accessing all potential outlets, even those typically closed to individual authors or small publishers, under favorable terms. You can't just walk up to any bookstore and say, "Hey, I'm an author. I have a book. Will you distribute it?" Most of them are going to say, "No, thank you." Yeah, what are your sales like? And there's all these different things that each individual store is going to make you look at. The next challenge is optimizing time and effort dedicated to administrative duties like uploading books, managing discounts, monitoring sales, and overseeing royalties. This is like what I described to you before. Most of us got in the business to be writers, not admins. And it's definitely a challenge making sure you're balancing all the admin tasks with getting the books written and the other things. Another challenge is understanding and unlocking promotional opportunities with wide stores. But finally, it's setting expectations for success because it does take time. Patience is the key. You're not going to get that automatic boost. So it's really important to set your expectation reasonably and be patient as you wait to see how this all is going to come out. Here are some keys for wide success and ways you can be more successful with wide. First of all, make sure you understand each platform and what the requirements are. As I've said, they are all different, and you need to make sure that you're fitting those requirements for those platforms. The next key is to optimize your metadata and book descriptions. This is also important for Amazon. So for those of you who are kind of checking out saying, you know what, I think I'll stay in KU, this is a great part to listen to today because there's still some tips in here that are going to help you be successful if you're in KU. And one of those is optimizing your metadata and book descriptions. It is really critical to make sure that your metadata, your book description, your keywords, and your categories are correct. I was looking at a book a while back that wasn't selling very well. Author couldn't figure out why. It's this beautiful epic fantasy. Everything about the book seemed perfect. Well, when I looked at the book, the author had put it in the LGBTQ category. Now, this wouldn't have been a problem if the book had anything to do with LGBTQ in it. It did not. There was nothing about the story that lended itself to this category. So when your book is in the wrong category, of course the right people aren't going to see it, but you change the metadata, the book category, put it in the right category, and boom, suddenly the book is in an epic fantasy category, and the appropriate readers are going to get their eyes on the book, and they're actually going to want to buy the book and read it. So very, very important to make sure your metadata, your keywords, your book description, make sure it's on point and make sure it's where it needs to be. Next key for wide success is build your mailing lists. Again, this is important for Amazon as well. Make sure you have a good mailing list. And one of the best ways to do that is through various promotional tools and things like that. There are a lot of really great list builders out there. Most of them are geared towards authors who are wide, although there are a few for books in KU. But you need to make sure that you're finding those, continue to build your mailing list and really engage your readers and build that relationship with your readers. The next key for wide success is distribution through libraries. Again, a lot of authors find success with library distribution. So make sure you're finding ways to get your books into libraries and building those relationships, because those libraries are going to get more readers, and that's really important for you with your books. The next key is participating in wide specific promotions, such as in-store promotions. BookBub, Written Word Media has some great promotions as well. Again, some of these you can do if you're in KU. Most of them are geared towards wide authors. But here's the thing. I mentioned before, like in KU and Amazon, there's special promotions, special algorithmic considerations that you get from being in KU. Other stores have that as well, such as Apple. Apple runs great sales and promotions on books in the Apple Store. So, make sure you're taking a look at the stores that your books are in and whether or not you qualify for those promotions and can get your book into those promotions, because that's really going to raise the awareness of your book and help you get increased sales. Another one is strategic pricing. Make sure you're changing your prices for sales and other promotions. I've seen a lot of authors who find success. They might temporarily lower the price of the book. They might even temporarily raise the price of the book. Take pricing as really a dynamic thing and play with it, experiment with it, see what that sweet spot is. And if your book stagnates for a while, make sure you change that pricing a little bit and see what it does to get it moving. The next key to success is creating a strong backlist. For both sets of authors, this is really important, but make sure you've got a solid backlist, because that's really critical for wide success. If you've only got one book for people to read, well, that's one book, and then what? But the more books you have for your readers to read, the more successful you can be, the more opportunities there are for making money. Especially when you're wide, you can leverage that IP into other money-making avenues. And so really keep in mind that the more books you have, the more IP you have, all the different things that you get to do with that and getting those additional readers and giving them more and more. The next key to success is cultivating reviews on multiple platforms. Reviews are going to be important for both KU readers as well as wide readers. But when you're wide, you want to make sure you're getting those reviews on multiple platforms. If people like your book, make sure you're telling them to leave a review. Encourage those reviews. And when somebody leaves a good review, make note of it. Use it in your promotional materials. If somebody says, hey, I really love this character because this character is so relatable into my situation, well, that's fantastic. That's a great review. Make sure you're using that. Make sure you're sharing that with your readers. So that way they're like, oh, I can relate to that. I'm going to pick up that book as well. But the most important key to wide success is staying consistent and patient. Like I said, your success isn't going to happen overnight, and it will take time. But if you're consistent and you consistently work at it and you're patient, you'll eventually get to where you want to go. So here is one of the ways that going wide can be made a lot easier, and it can help you be more profitable, help you manage your time better, help you manage your sales a little better. And that is using an aggregator. Now, PublishDrive is a book aggregator, at least one of the components of the business. And there are many different book aggregators out there. Right now, we're going to talk about using aggregation in general. So using an aggregator is one-stop distribution. Aggregators like PublishDrive allow you to upload your book once and distribute it to multiple retailers and library systems, simplifying the process. So it's a much easier process than having to learn all these different platforms. You just have one, get your book, upload it, boom, it goes everywhere, which is great for time efficiency, because with a single upload, you can manage your book's metadata, pricing, and promotional details across various platforms, saving you significant time and effort. Rather than having to go into each individual platform, all you have to do is do it once. And that is really important in terms of saving time and effort. Another benefit of using an aggregator would be consolidated reporting. You have a centralized dashboard for sales reports and earnings across all platforms, making it easier to track overall performance. The next thing is automatic updates. When you need to make changes like pricing, metadata, or your manuscript corrections, aggregators allow you to update across all platforms from one place, streamlining your maintenance. Now you get that reader letter of that glaring typo, the persistent one that lasted through 7 rounds of edits and is still there. If you don't use an aggregator, you have to change that in multiple places and make sure that you get it right on all of the different files in all the places. With an aggregator, it's one place. I was talking earlier about how Amazon is easy if you're exclusive with Amazon because you've got one dashboard, one place to manage all of these different things. So it's like, yeah, that's super easy for someone who doesn't want to have to do all of the work in all of the different places. Well, you kind of are getting that back when you use an aggregator. Because guess what? With an aggregator, you can also access Amazon. So every platform can be used in one place. Which brings me to the final benefit of using an aggregator. You have a wider variety of platforms. Not all platforms allow authors to go direct with them. Like I was mentioning before, some of them aren't going to say, oh yes, individual author, please come give us your book. But an aggregator has the benefit of having so many authors and so many books that when they go to a different platform and say, hey, we would like to upload our books here, they say, oh, wow, you have all these books? Yeah, sure, come on in. The other thing that an aggregator can do is sometimes they can even negotiate more favorable contract terms with those platforms so that when you put your book up there, boom, it's much simpler and you're getting it on better terms. So with an aggregator, you have more stores and more flexibility, which is wonderful. So since I'm with PublishDrive, I of course have to tell you why PublishDrive is going to help you achieve wide publishing success. One of the things that I mentioned earlier, I showed you all the stores, all the countries we're in. You get over 50 channels with 400 outlets and thousands of digital library access around the globe with more than 700 million more potential readers. Of all the aggregators, we have the widest reach. We have the most stores. And that's really wonderful if you want to reach as wide of an audience as possible. We can save you 23 plus hours per title per month. As I mentioned in the whole why use an aggregator discussion, it takes time to upload your book to every single place. It's a lot of energy, a lot of effort. I was just talking to someone the other day about this when she was looking at moving her things to PublishDrive, and she said, you know, for me, this is a no-brainer because the hours that I spend, that's worth something. And I would have to hire a VA at $18 an hour to do all of that for me. And I can, with PublishDrive, I can just do it all myself in very little time. This is wonderful. So for her VA is $18 an hour. I was just interviewing VAs for another project and they wanted $40 an hour. So somewhere between $18 and $40 an hour to pay someone to do all this for you. Or if you don't want to pay someone, that's your time. And so we're saving this time, money, however you're choosing to handle the upload process. And what that does is that frees you to create more books, to write more books, do more promotion, to do whatever else you want. And that's going to increase your profitability, especially if you're not paying someone else. You might still have to pay an admin to do some of the work, but it's significantly less than if you had to do all of those stores separately. The other thing that PublishDrive does that's really great is we have exclusive promotional opportunities with stores through PublishDrive. So remember I was telling you about the Apple stuff and getting Apple promotions. Apple is one of our partner stores. Apple is actually one of the stores that we have a promotional agreement with. So we have a dedicated person who talks to stores, gets the promotions, and sends them out to our authors. So what ends up happening is when Apple has a promotion, we send that to our authors and we say, hey, we have this promotion. If you qualify, make sure you apply for it so you can potentially get in and get your book in this Apple sale or this Apple deal that's going on. And so we have all these different promotional opportunities, and a few of them we've gotten some books to #1 on their particular bestseller list because of the promotions that they did through PublishDrive. Another wonderful thing that we have as a partnership with PublishDrive is it's a partnership with Written Word Media. We have access to some of their promotions for free. And some of their other promotions you can get at a significant discount. Again, like talk about your profitability and getting more bang for your buck. Right here in one dashboard, you have the ability to get your books out there promoted, and you're not having to go through multiple dashboards, multiple places. It's all in one. And again, that's giving you more time and more efficiency in making your business so that you can be successful. So, how much does PublishDrive cost? So, first of all, it's a per book fee and it varies. But I want to talk to you a little bit about that and why I think PublishDrive is the best model. Unlike other aggregators who charge a percentage, they're very great about saying, hey, we take a percentage of your royalties. You don't have to pay anything. Well, you do. You have to give them that percentage of your royalties. PublishDrive charges you an upfront monthly or annual fee. That's a flat fee based on, again, number of books. Let's pretend you have $25,000 in total sales. You have a $100 monthly fee with PublishDrive. Let's pretend that's the plan level you're at. We have, again, various levels. It may not be $100, but let's pretend that's what you're at. So $100 fee, you've done $25,000 in total sales. You pay us $100. The store is going to take a cut of $7,500. That's a non-negotiable cost. All the stores are going to take their cut. That's their cut. But after the store cut, after what you've paid us, you have $17,400 left. Now, if you're using an aggregator that has a 10% royalty fee, that you're thinking, yeah, $100 a month is expensive, I don't want to pay it. Okay, what does 10% royalties cost you on $25,000 of total sales? Well, the store still takes $7,500. The aggregator takes 10%, which is $2,500. That only leaves you with $15,000. Now, I'm a writer, not a mather, but I can look at these numbers and tell you which number works best for me. I would rather the $17,400. Now, again, I know $100 a month can sound pricey for some people, especially if you're just starting out. But here's the good news. You can start your journey with PublishDrive absolutely free. Your first ebook is free with PublishDrive. So that's really important to remember because you can try it out, see how it works, see what works for you. But we also have some other features of PublishDrive that is going to be different that other people don't have. So the first one is our publishing assistant. Now, this is a separate feature of PublishDrive. It is a separate fee. However, again, the first book you do with our Publish Assistant is free. Remember earlier when I was telling you about metadata and the importance of metadata and the right book description and all of that? Our publishing assistant does that for you. You upload your book, it goes through your book, it pulls out the keywords according to what is selling on Amazon, which is really important because we think we know the keywords, right? Well, our publishing assistant knows what keywords are actually selling on Amazon. Our publishing assistant says, okay, here's the keywords in your book. Here's the metadata for your book. And here is the description for your book. So the first one is a personal story about my own book. I have a book. Well, I have several books, but one book in particular that just wasn't really doing well. And so I tried some ads on it. And it bumped up the sales a little bit, but really nothing spectacular. To be honest, I didn't make back my ad spend, so I canceled the ads. Smart business move when you're not making any money. But then I had the opportunity to try the beta version of our publishing assistant. I said, okay, I'm going to give this thing a spin. And I did. And so based on what the publishing assistant told me, I changed my keywords, my metadata, and my book description. So my original book description, I paid $150 for someone to do it for me because I'm going to be very honest. I am terrible at writing book descriptions. It's not my thing. You've been hearing me speak is brevity. one of my skills? No, it is not. Even less so when I am trying to write. So after struggling with writing this book description, I finally just sent the information to someone, $150, came back, had a book description. So that's what I've been using ever since the book's been on sale. Well, I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead. I'll try the publishing assistant. Boom, got a new book description. It was fairly different from what my original description was. Now, my original description was still good. I'd had other people read it and say, yeah, this is a good description. It's just that the publishing assistant's description was A, a little bit better, and B, more focused on keywords of what was selling on Amazon. The sales of that book have increased. Now, the only thing I changed was the book description, metadata, keywords, all of that stuff that I got from the publishing assistant. That's the only thing I changed. I didn't run ads on it again. But you know what? My sales increased to the level that they were when I was running ads on that book. So at some point, I am going to run new ads on this book just to see if that improves now that I've improved the description and stuff. But I think it's really great for me to see as an author that, yes, having that little extra boost of figuring out what's actually selling on Amazon and how that relates to my book is super important. Here is the second story. And this is something that I'm saying very delicately. I'm not sharing author name or title. And actually, I don't even remember it. So even better. But I was reading this book description and it sounded amazing. You guys know what I'm talking about. You'll read a book description like, oh, I need this book right now. So I did. Bought the book, started reading the book. I was so disappointed. Really, really disappointed. I was like, this is garbage. Wait, is this the book that I actually bought? Because this is not, wait. And it was the correct book, but it was nothing like what the description said it was. Now, I have a weird quirk. I cannot not finish a book. I wish I could, but I can't. I have to finish a book. It's like this compulsive thing. As terrible as the book is, I have to know the story and how it ends. So I finished the book. I got 2/3 of the way through the book, and it finally got to where the book description was, where the book description said, this is what's going on. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what I've been reading 2/3 of the book to get to. So what I realized about this book and this book description is that, it's like those Hollywood movie trailers. Have you seen the movie trailer where you're like, oh, this sounds so great? And then you watch the movie and you're like, yeah, the best part of the movie was the movie trailer. Yeah, that was this book. The book description was basically this one little scene in the whole book that was super good. And the rest of the book really didn't have much to do with it. And so I was disappointed. Like I said, if I had the ability to not finish a book, I wouldn't have finished the book. And if I were the sort of person to leave negative reviews, I probably would have left the author a really bad review because the book was nothing like what the description said. And I find that's really common with authors. I know it's totally true for me. So when I am like picking on authors for this, please know I am also picking on myself because I totally do this. I think the book is about one thing and it's not. And what's really great about our publishing assistant is because it's AI, it doesn't have that personal attachment to the book. It doesn't have a personal attachment to a character or a story. It looks at the book objectively and says, okay, here's all the keywords in your book. This is what your book's about. And then you have a choice, which is super cool for me as an author, because as a romance author, I tend to straddle the line between romance and women's fiction a lot. My editor calls me out on this all the time. She's like, hey, Danica, you're not quite doing the romance thing here. Like, this is more women's fiction-y. Let's get back to the romance. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. What's so cool about our publishing assistant is when you put it through there, it gives you the description. If you're like, but wait, this is saying it's women's fiction and I really write romance. Well, then you have a choice. You can say, okay, it's coming up women's fiction. Maybe I should just market it as women's fiction. Or you can say, okay, you know what I should do? I should just go back and edit the book some more, add a little more romance, and yay, it's a romance now. That's what I think is really super cool about the publishing assistant. I think I mentioned this, but the first book you put through our publishing assistant is free. After that, you just buy credits for whatever publishing assistant needs you have. I love this. I think this is really, for me as an author, a game changer because It makes my life so much better. And since we're talking about profitability, it helps us increase our profits because we're making our books more discoverable using the keywords, using the information that make books sell. The next feature that PublishDrive have is called Abacus, and it helps you calculate your royalty splits. So if you're writing with co-authors or you're doing an anthology, you put the information here into Abacus and boom, it does all of that for you. Your first book with Abacus is free. After that, we have various payment structures and things. We will work on a custom plan for you and your needs. I also wanted to mention that for those of you who have listened to the publishing wide thing and are like, yeah, I'm good in KU, it's important to note you can still use both Abacus and our publishing assistant, even if you're in KU. The book that I mentioned that I used it for, because it's part of a multi-author project, it's actually in KU because of the agreement I had with the other authors. So you can totally do the metadata generator or Abacus even in KU. All three of these products that we have through PublishDrive, you get to try it for free, use it for free, and then if you need more, you can upgrade. Ultimately, we do have the solution you need. We have global distribution, royalty management, our AI assistant, and the thing I haven't mentioned is we also have format converters. We have on our website free converter to convert your book into the format you need to publish it. We can also do a print on demand converter. So all of that is free on our website. The other thing I didn't mention as part of our distribution is if you want to run your ads, you can do your Amazon ads. You can do that straight through PublishDrive. So all of these tools all in one dashboard, which makes publishing really simple, really easy, that saves you time and money. Part of our services, we do have our in-house customer support. For our larger accounts, particularly authors that have a lot of books who want to move to PublishDrive, we have a dedicated customer success manager who will help you do that. Also, we have a podcast. I'm a little biased because I happen to love it, but I'm one of the co-hosts. It's called Brave New Bookshelf, Perspectives in AI and Publishing, and I co-host that with my good friend Steph Pajonas of the Future Fiction Academy. We have podcasts every Thursday where we talk about AI in publishing. So be sure to check us out if you are interested in that topic. We've also got a Facebook community. And just some words from our customers telling you a little bit about PublishDrive. The first one is Mark Recklau. I think a lot of people know Mark. One of the things I love about Mark is he's so transparent in his story. And part of that transparency is that he was one of those people whose Amazon accounts were closed without warning, without reason, and it took him months to get his Amazon account back. That's actually when he decided to start using PublishDrive because he needed to get his books out there somehow. And he's found a lot of success with PublishDrive. He did get his Amazon account back, but it was a good lesson to Mark and something that he talks about a lot, as he's never going to do just Amazon ever again. So some really great testimonials from Mark. We also work with Lauren Smith, who is a best-selling author, and she has had a lot of success in getting her books out to other countries and getting that wider distribution than Amazon can offer. We also have Quinn Loftus, who works with us. And as she says, any way you can save time, you are also saving money. And so that is another place where the profitability of your writing business is something that is really important. And that's why we're here to help authors. Michael Anderley from LMBPN also uses PublishDrive and our Abacus feature to help get those royalties out to all the wonderful LMBPN authors, and absolutely loves it. So just some testimonials to let you know of other people who are finding success with PublishDrive. So finally, our key takeaways. The market is moving in the direction of getting more independent and wide. So international sales are surging and more business models are appearing, which means to take advantage of that, you need to have your books wide. All of these great opportunities that are out there for authors now, they're a lot harder to get when you're in KU. Wide publishing does take a long time to succeed, so make sure you're setting your expectations. And use a partner to save time and costs on administration. Like I said, obviously I work for PublishDrive. That's where my bias is, but there are other partners out there who can help you do similar things. I just think we do more and better. Finally, search for a partner to get the widest reach for readers with transparent sales analytics. Market not only on Amazon, but there are a lot of other stores, a lot of other opportunities for marketing. And so that is all I have for you today. You can get started with PublishDrive absolutely free. All of our services and products are free to enter. And if you want to do more, you can certainly do that. We have a QR code here. Everyone who is at this online conference, as well as Ally members, can get 20% off of their first year of an annual plan. And so, again, like a lot of different ways to enter, a lot of different things that you can try to make your business more successful. And we're here to partner with you every step of the way. Feel free to reach out, and I hope you all have a really wonderful day.